So we don't forget we are recording. That was one of the things I noticed last week when you moved over there. I'm guessing since you weren't right out in the wind with your mic, we did have less background noise. I think generally, I think last week's episode sounded a little better. Not that the others sounded bad.
Yeah, I've listened to a little bit of it. I haven't finished it yet. What was that? I'm still trying to wake up. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll definitely talk about. We're definitely going to touch on why you might be a little groggy this morning. I am definitely excited to hear about that. So, shall we just go ahead and roll some intro music and start talking?
Let's hit some intro music.
Hello, everyone. It's another edition of Shiftless, hanging out in Brad's enclave between his kitchen and pool in beautiful wooded, almost forested backyard.
Yeah, it's so serene.
This is so awesome. This is one of my
I love it.
favorite spots in North Texas. No, if that's. Oh, I need to touch on something before I forget.
Let's go.
And if I already knew this, forgive me.
Okay.
My head has broken a bunch of helmets over the years, so maybe it is something you told me before. Is Brad short for Bradford?
That it is.
I apologize tremendously. I've just been calling you Bradley for.
That's okay. A lot of people do it.
Well, it's obviously it's the assumptive way to go there. All I'm saying is, if you told me that in the past, I apologize. I would think I would have remembered that.
I have, but it was usually followed by the only people that are allowed to call me that are people that are currently having sex with me. So that would have been the reason that you never called me that.
And I never will. Don't take it the wrong way.
But I've actually gotten more into that moniker. My wife calls me that very often, which she fits the criteria.
Oh, now we're bragging. Now we're bragging.
She fits the criteria. But no, I told my kid, I said, when I turn 50, I think I'm going to start going by Bradford. And because it's classy. It's fun. It's different. And it's interesting. Much like you probably have some sort of interest when you meet another Kevin. There's some kind of, dare I say, bond there. But every time I meet another Brad, which is kind of far in between, I always, if I ever
Yeah,
get...
not as common a name as it used to be, is it?
But I usually engage them and ask them, are you a Brad, a Bradley, or a Bradford? And I've only met one other Bradford. So I thought it was pretty cool, I used to just think it was kind of a dorky name, and now, obviously, as I've gotten older, I'm like, it's kind of a cool name.
So do I need to clarify why Adam was the one that reached out to me and said it's Bradford?
Oh, because you call me Bradley all the time? I used to get really irritated with it because I'm like, it's not my name. And then I was like, who gives a shit, But,
all right. I'm just going to call you Brad because I'm definitely not comfortable calling you Bradford now.
You're more than welcome to call me Bradford. That was like I said, that was probably 10 years ago. I used to say that on the regular just to deter people from calling me Bradford. And now, like I said, I kind of embrace it. I think it's kind of a cool name. But
Gotcha.
It doesn't matter.
Gotcha. All right. So you said you're a little draggy this morning.
I am.
Please share with us why that might be.
So we had a wine dinner last night at not at Rombauer, but at the Barrel in Bartonville, and we had 75 guests, and Rombauer was the featured wine, and we did 5 courses. I was the guest chef, which was extremely cool. To have an entire kitchen staff welcome you into their kitchen, let you have the run of their kitchen, and fully support you, and lift you up and make you look good. It was quite the cool thing, and even the head chef was just an absolute sweetheart, He's like, we're here to make you look good. And I was like, this is awesome. And it wasn't until last night I found out. I go, so how often you guys have guest chefs on these things? They go, you're the first one.
That's cool.
I was like, well, you guys are making it seem like, I mean, you're such
Like,
a gracious host, man. It was incredible.
excellent.
It was so cool. We did 75 people, 5 courses, all paired with wine. And it, dare I say, it was easy, you know, other than the planning and the
It was a different production than you and Paula doing everything in your own kitchen.
it definitely was. And part of my negotiations for the whole deal was for Paula to be on the receiving end. So she got to sit in the audience.
Oh, man.
So that was really cool. And she had a large time. That's part of why I'm so groggy this morning.
I am so sorry I missed that now.
She's
Good
so adorable.
And
Uh-huh.
I did try to join you, but it was full. It was sold
Yeah.
out. I put myself on the wait list. So
Yeah, they capped it at 75. And what's funny is I told them, because, you know, in typical form, I don't like to reveal my menu. I love the aspect that it's a secret.
sure.
And so when they were asking me about the details of the menu, I sent it to them. And I said, but can we not keep it secret, you know, until the night of the event? And I go, I know that's not y'all's normal play. And I don't want to, you know, deter people from signing up. But I would prefer it be kept secret. And the owner was like, heck yeah, we can keep it secret. And I go, do you think it'll keep people from signing up? He goes, no. And if it does, we'll figure it out, you know. And we capped it at 75 maybe 2 weeks ago. So I was pretty stoked for that. And everybody had a great time. I mean, it was,
How much of the 75 were your regulars or people that you were already
no,
tied into?
it was like 5 people there that I knew.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I was stoked.
I bet there were a bunch more like me that, oh yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh.
Yeah, the wait list was pretty long. Not bragging, but it was pretty cool.
No, that's
They were-
very cool.
In fact, they had. She was telling me last night that they had like 6 people cancel, and she goes, it was no big deal because we had so many people on the wait list. And she goes, that's not been the case before. She said
Look
that.
at you.
I don't think it had much to do with me. I think it had more to do with their building momentum in that realm. But I mean, I'll take it, you know. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So are you able to disclose the menu after the fact, at least surface level?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So well, first we need you got to know that they progressed the wines. They did a I just went dead. Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Merlot. And they did this weird, but they went Zinfandel and then Cabernet Sauvignon.
That is, well, I guess
I
it's,
thought it was weird.
well, it's it separates the Merlot from the Cab.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what they were going for.
yeah. I don't know. That Zinfandel. I never been a Zinfandel fan before in my life. I mean, it's not true. I have some Zinfandels, and I've enjoyed some over the years. Never as much as this, and it's their lowest price wine, which is crazy, and it's their highest alcohol percentage, 15.9%, which is that's really high.
Paula
for
had a
wine.
couple of those, didn't she?
Yeah. I asked her later in the evening. I go, so what all did you drink? And she goes, well,
Zin.
we started with an old fashioned. I go, before 5 glasses of wine? And she goes, and then we had a espresso martini.
Oh my God!
I was like, good Lord.
I wish I'd have been there for that.
She
I
is so
really,
adorable.
I would have had so much fun with her. Good
She
grief!
is so cute when she's. You watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine at all? No.
I've seen a couple episodes here and there.
I was calling her 5-drink Amy last night.
No,
She's-
doesn't register with me.
She's-
All right, so
she's so fun.
so we, man, Did everybody have a designated driver last night? I hope.
I don't know. I wasn't responsible for anybody except for my wife.
I understand, but man, just the wine menu there.
Nor was I responsible for any pours. I did not pour any wine.
Sure.
I didn't even pour my own wine.
Understood.
So I did have some Blanton's Gold last night as well.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, and some Hardin Creek. I had a good time.
Good.
But
all right, so that was the wine progression. So that was a different wine with each course. Is that the
Yes.
way it worked?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we did the same course that you've had before. I started with the goat cheese, the whipped goat cheese, the grilled white peaches, brassiola, dandelion leaves, and charred green onion. We did charred green onion oil because ramps were out of season and they didn't get any spring bulb onions. Whatever. It was delicious. And then
And I'm sorry, that was paired with what again?
the Sauvignon Blanc,
Okay.
which I think is super good. That's like summer on a plate in a glass
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, it
you know?
really is.
And then course 2, we did a puffed rice paper with I did a little bit of really light Napa cabbage slaw, which was kind of a tongue-in-cheek because they're from Napa, you know. It was and then I did a truffalo sauce on lobster bites. So it was I take a red wine, in this case it was a Rombauer, reduce it, and then put truff hot sauce in there and bring it to a simmer and then mount it with room temperature butter and then cool it to room temp. And then the lobster gets blasted in the oven, tossed with the sauce on top. And then I did pickled celery matchsticks and watermelon radish to go on the side. And that went with the Chardonnay. Buttery Chardonnay, buttery hot sauce, you know. And then, of course...
Butter goes with everything.
Oh, yeah. Butter and bacon you can't lose, you know. If we could figure out how to do butter and bacon together, we'd be all right. So, let me see, course 3, we did, I did a forbidden rice.
Okay.
Pan-seared halibut. I did a beurre blanc. We had...
Beurre Blanc.
So it's a white wine reduction.
Okay.
So I took Chardonnay, Rombauer Chardonnay, aromatics, shallots, fresh thyme, peppercorns, bay leaves.
Dude.
Yeah.
You're talking my language.
And just a touch of rice wine vinegar to an entire bottle. I probably had a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. You reduce that down to it's like a syrup almost. Then in order to make it line stable, so you can do 75 people, you add heavy cream and reduce that down till it's like a mud.
Okay.
Then as that's
Reconstitute.
I mounted it with almost 5 pounds of butter.
Oh.
So it's a butter sauce,
Yeah.
but it's got this super tight, like intense flavor of wine and richness, right? Then the seasoning is adjusted, mainly salt, obviously. And then, so that goes on top of the fish, and then citrus segments, so supremes. So we did grapefruit, orange, and lime. So it's peeled, and then in between each one of the segments is cut, so you just have the cells. So that was kind of topped on top of the butter sauce, and then I made a pink peppercorn syrup to go around the fish, and then we had some micro bull's blood greens. Oh shit, sorry. Throwing elbows. Which is basically...
I'm gonna Velcro your arms to the arms of that chair someday.
I talk with my hands. It's my Italian heritage. And that was a huge success as well.
And which wine was paired with that course?
That was the Merlot. Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, you're really killing me with that course.
Yeah.
Going back to the lobster, what was the wine with that?
Chardonnay. Rombauer Chardonnay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then course 4 was pasta bolognese, which I know you enjoy. So we did.
I did my first pasta bolognese last week.
Yes, I want to talk about that.
Some other time.
We did pappardelle pasta with that, and then It was pretty simple, other than, we cooked it for 2 days. I say cooked it for 2 days. We cooked it initially because, I went up there on Monday and prepped all day. One of my first goals was to put the bolognese on so it had plenty of time to develop and cook down and everything. Then it was refrigerated, brought it back up yesterday, closer to service, adjusted the seasonings, mounted the cream, and then got everything ready for service. Everything was dressed, napped with a little bit of extra sauce, and then Parmigiano Reggiano, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and fresh ground black pepper, and just a little torn basil just for color contrast and aromatics to hit your face when it got in front of you. To say that was the hit was probably an understatement. Like, everybody enjoyed everything, but I think that it seemed like people were surprised that pasta could be that good and that simple.
I told you after our dinner, that's exactly how I felt about it. It was that bolognese was the hit for me that dinner.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself was surprising to me.
Because
it was, what's the best way? Going back, we always go back to barbecue.
Yeah.
Let's go back to barbecue and bites. But like for me, a simple, basic smoked brisket is the best brisket.
Yeah, but there's less to hide behind.
Exactly.
Like we've talked about before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that bolognese of yours, it's like, it just comes across as, this is just so core.
Right. It's like that scene in Ratatouille when he has the perfect bite of the ratatouille, and he's just like taken away.
Yeah. That was exactly my reaction to that first bite of that bolognese. So I remember when I said that to you, you looked at me kind of surprised, like that was the one that
well, especially out of 9 courses, you're like, that was the standout. I'm like, it is homemade pasta, and the sauce. We say it's a simple sauce, but it takes time, just like brisket, right?
Yeah.
Brisket's a very simple thing, but it takes time and consideration.
Well, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche I firmly believe in. Food is love.
Yeah.
Love is food.
Yeah.
And that dish is one of those that the love just exudes from it.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense at all.
Well, I think one of the things is a lot of us have been kind of jilted out of having that proper bolognese experience because, everybody makes spaghetti sauce.
Everybody has to trick it up and
Right.
make it their own.
Yeah.
And it's all gone derivative and away from the core.
Yeah. But what most people fail to do, though, is, their mother or their grandmother made, like what you would call almost a bolognese, because they're using ground beef or ground pork or something. But they don't let it simmer for 4 or 5 hours until that meat just has that texture and it just unleashes itself when it hits your mouth. That's, I think, that one of the big differences. So I think that's, a lot of the flavors are familiar, but that mouthfeel, that texture, and the cream at the end where you mount it right before it goes on for service is another aspect, So, like I said, it's a simple thing, but there's a lot of consideration for it.
And that was the Zen?
Yeah, that went with the Zen. Beautiful. Although I thought it was going with the cab. They switched it on me. I found out when I went to give my presentation that they were serving the Zen.
Okay.
And I turned to the bar manager and I go, "You guys are supposed to be serving the cab with this." He goes, "Oh, no, it's always been the Zen." I go, "We'll argue about this later."
But it worked,
Because
right?
I had all my notes. Oh, yeah. Dude,
So was
their
it
Zen is not a...
was it a red heavy Zen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
15.9%, like
Well,
I said.
I'm assuming so, yeah.
But it's not...
Man, I'm going to have to go get a bottle
to
of this
say
now. What is it again?
Rombauer Zinfandel. To say that it's not a Zinfandel or not a Zinfandel tasting Zinfandel is kind of contradictory almost, but it doesn't have those big peppery, leathery notes that you would typically have in, like, I think of like Ravenswood Zinfandels and like old growth, old vine Zinfandels and stuff like that have this big peppery, leathery almost like coffee notes, stuff like that. This is more of a berry oak. I don't know. So it was so good.
All right.
It
All
was
right.
super good.
And where can I get these wines these days? Everywhere?
Oh yeah, Rombauer is carried in most grocery stores.
I typically don't. When I wine, I just stock up on some 4R stuff, and
Yeah.
that gets me by. So I rarely go out and shop wine anymore because I don't drink a whole lot of wine
Yeah.
to begin with.
Uh, I should have picked up. I may still pick up some bottles for because they have a wine club, so you
Okay.
get a price break on wine. They basically sell for less than you can purchase at retail,
Really,
which is cool. Yeah.
that is very cool. All right. So the Bolognese Zen combo,
hmm
course 4.
And then course 5, we did. I did. I don't think I served this. I know I didn't serve this to you. We did a new fun dessert that I've been playing with. It's a caprese play. So it's a goat cheese cheesecake made with the focaccia crust. So make focaccia bread, crumb it, mix it with butter and olive oil.
Okay.
And then the goat cheese has just a little bit of citrus in it as well, just to accent the goat cheese flavors. Tomato balsamic jam. So I take tomatoes and make a concasse, which is like parboil it for just a second so you can peel it, cut it, take all the seeds out, chop it, and then cook it like you would any other fruit and make a jam, except for it has balsamic vinegar in it as well. And then basil custard, basil frozen custard. So it's basil, fresh basil that gets blanched and shocked real quick, and then wrung out and dried, steeped in cream, pureed, strained. So it's just a green cream, basically. And then a pine nut crumble. So it's,
Boom.
yeah. So you've got like all these different flavors playing, and there's that tomato, cheese, basil combo.
Did you toast the pine nuts or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I took egg whites, beat them till they're stiff peaks, fold the pine nuts in, sweeten it with sugar and salt, and that's it.
Yep.
And then put them flat on parchment and cook it. It's almost like a twill, and then break it up, and that's what goes on.
Beautiful.
And but it's such a fun thing because everybody knows well, not everybody, but most people know. Sorry, I have to sneeze.
Go for it.
Whew. Most people know what a caprese is, and everybody's had cheesecake.
A Caprice classic.
Yeah, Caprice Classic. But when you set this down in front of them, it's recognizable. And then you start thinking, well, I know the components, but I've never seen them
Right.
in this layout. And so it's a mind F, you know? And then once you start getting into it and you taste everything together, you're
You
like,
can say fuck on this
oh,
show.
wow. Yeah, but it was funny because everybody was full by the time it came.
Sure.
But I was, I walked and talked to, I think I hit every table. And they were like, this was the wildest, funnest thing. They were like, I was not ready. And I go, well, I tried to get you ready for it when I was giving you the description, They were like, yeah, you did a great job, but I still wasn't ready.
No,
you know?
you can't be.
Yeah.
You can't be.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Good deal, man.
So,
I am so disappointed I did miss that, but
now
I'm.
you didn't miss anything.
I'll kiss. But I am glad it went well for you, and I didn't expect any different
It was
from that.
It was a trip, man. I'm still kind of reeling in it, like thinking through all the stuff. I mean, like I said, I can't say enough about their kitchen staff. And I even told the owner last night after it was all said and done. I said, "Dude, you don't have a weak member on your staff," which is something you rarely see in that
So
industry.
let's give these folks a super specific shout out.
Yeah, the Barrel
The Barrel,
in Bartonville Town Center.
Bartonville Town Center,
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah.
Head chef name?
His name is George. I mean, it's Jorge, but everybody calls him George Romero. Badass, super good guy. Um, and
Off the top of your head, do you know their website by chance?
I think it's just thebarrel.com.
There's
could
no
be
way.
wrong.
There's no way it's that.
I could be wrong. I can look it up.
That's
but-
it. No,
Yeah.
we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
We'll put it in
Yeah.
the show notes. They on Facebook and Instagram and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that good stuff.
Yeah, they do a really good job, though.
What is their
Cool.
speciality if somebody's just coming in off the street on a regular menu night?
I don't know, but they do a lot of cool stuff on their menu. Like they have elk on the menu. They have scallop crudo, which is not something you find in a lot of places. They just rewrote their menu and rolled it out. I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. In fact, when I went up there to collab with them for this menu, they were kind of proofing out their new menu, their summer menu. So I didn't get a chance to go over it completely, but they do a lot of good stuff.
Are they a 7-night-a-week walk-in joint? Reservations only?
No, I think you can get in there without a reservation. They do a lot of happy hour promotions. Monday night, I think they have half off martinis and half off appetizers. I think their burgers half off on Monday evening or Monday happy hour, that kind of stuff.
Lucy's feeling neglected.
But they have they have an eclectic menu.
Okay.
They serve a pasta. They have heavy steaks. They do a tomahawk. They do a rack of lamb. They do
Rack of lamb, damn.
they do a beef stir fried rice. They do a fair amount of stuff. They serve. They have a rotational oyster. Whatever good oysters they get in. They do homemade crab rangoons. I mean, it's all over the board, but everything I've ever had there is delicious. So.
Very nice. Any plans to do another one yet?
I thought it was going to be a one and done thing, and then after how successful everything was last night, especially like not just the execution and the reception of everything, but how well everything gelled with me and the staff and everything, and the owner was super happy. I was like, I'd do this anytime, and he goes, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Take you up on
And
that.
I said, say when. I was like, this was a lot of fun, and they promoted this shit out of me too, which was really cool. He goes, you should have been force feeding cards at people. And I go, I didn't really come here to do that, I came here to hang out with your guys and, stuff.
Keeping it organic, right?
Yeah. I was like, he goes, no, we're piggybacking off of you. You should be piggybacking off of us. And I go, well, that's fair.
That's the way that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
those are the right types of relationships for that.
It was really, really cool. Like I said, just still thinking back on everything, just all the conversations. I mean, I'm sure you have the same thing when you deal with the Spinistry event. You're always looking for what's going to bite you in the ass. What are our pain points? How do we eliminate those? If we can identify them ahead of time, and we can get in front of it, or we can bypass it, eliminate it altogether, then we're better off for it. Or if we at least know it's coming, and we have a contingency, all of these conversations, the foresight and the anticipation is what prevents failure. So we had a ton of conversations leading up to service, and his sous chef is super badass. He's no Paula Ann, but we had a lot of conversations leading up to dinner service, and we were so lined out. I mean, I was nervous. I'd not done this in their kitchen with their people. Didn't know how everybody was gonna just be on point, and not only were they on point, they took perfect direction. They took real-time correction. It was, and everybody was just happy and cool. It was like is this a real kitchen? Am I being punked? You know, it was
I'm about to say
it was really
there's not
cool.
a lot of kitchens like that.
It was really cool, really cool.
Well, that's good to hear, man.
Yeah.
That is super cool. Well, definitely keep us informed when pieces come together.
I told
for
them, I
that
said,
one
we could do 100 next time. They said that's the biggest one they've ever done.
Okay.
They said last time, I think it was the last time or the time before, I think they had like 60. And at the last minute, last maybe week or so, they had almost 20 cancellations. So they only ended up with like 40 something people. And they said this time we had 75, all 75 showed. And we had, I think they said 25 plus on the wait list. And I said, we could have done 100 so easy. I said, the only thing you're lacking is plates and silverware. And probably glassware. I didn't deal with the glassware. But I was like, your kitchen could totally handle it. So I think I gave them some ideas last night. So.
Excellent. All right. Well, we're going to follow up on that. Do a little bit of housekeeping real quick
Talk to me.
while I'm thinking about it so that we don't let it slide. First off, Brad. If people want to reach out to us and comment and ask questions, you remember what our email address is?
I don't know. Shiftlesslive.com at Gmail.
Shiftlesslive@gmail.com for thoughts, comments, concerns.
I think maybe we need some stickers. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. Shiftlesslive@gmail.com.
And if you go to shiftless.org, it just automatically redirects you to our Spotify page. But we are available on all major podcast platforms. Just search for Shiftless by name and subscribe. So we try to update every Monday, and we've been pretty successful at it so far. And this is episode 20.
Yeah,
man.
I was telling my kid that last night. I was like, how cool is that? This will be our 20th episode.
So,
and I still can't remember shiftlesslive.org. At Gmail.
Shiftlesslive@gmail.com.
Oh, I'm such a goober. So, just to wrap that whole thing up. So, we were done at like, I want to say 8:45. You know, it started at 6.
How about started at 6?
Yeah, people showed up at 6.
That's an early start.
Yeah. But I couldn't get my wife out of there until it was at least 11 something.
I was about to say, it had to have been 11 to midnight night for her, right?
Yeah, they were ordering, like I said, espresso martinis, which I had one as well. Such a white girl guilty pleasure, but it's so delicious. And they were wanting to take pictures, and they were just cutting up, and then they were, mingling with everybody. Everybody got friendly, and it was a hot mess. And then I finally got my wife out of there, and then one of her friends she had to check on, and all this stuff, and we didn't end up getting home until, I don't know, 12:30 or so. Then my kid ran to In-N-Out. It must have been before 12:30 because he ran to In-N-Out, and I was like, hey, grab me a chocolate shake, would you? And that's my only gripe against In-N-Out is they don't do malts. But, well, I have other gripes too. But
yeah, I'm about to say that's the only one. Okay.
But, and so I was like almost falling asleep, and I was like, my chocolate shake's coming. So I stayed up and had my chocolate shake, and then I started watching a movie, and I couldn't hardly go to sleep. And then I was like, screw this, I've got to get some sleep. So we migrated to bed, and then Luna started, I don't know what her deal was, but she wanted to go out every 5 minutes, and so I didn't go to sleep till after 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So this morning I woke up, although I woke up earlier, because I wanted to have all my stuff done before you got here. But I was just groggy. So.
Another dash of housekeeping. our progression to nationwide dominance has come to a screeching halt. We have not added any of our missing states since we talked about it a few episodes ago.
We did add some South African listeners, though, thanks to Garrett.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will check that one. I did not look at the additional countries, but
Yeah.
as a reminder, anybody listening to Shiftless, if you know folks in these states that may be interested in, we just want to be able to say we're nationwide, just for shits and giggles.
We're looking at you, Alaska.
Alaska is at the top of the list, followed by Hawaii. Okay, again, I'm back to neither one of those is a surprise, but hey, if you know folks, point them our way. Mississippi. This one actually surprises me because just as much as we talk about Florida and Georgia and Louisiana and just the South in general, and I know there's some gravel riders in Mississippi.
And I have a bunch of family in Mississippi.
Okay. Montana. Well, there's not very many people in Montana, so that might take a little while.
No, and they're all still on Oxycontin.
New Hampshire. I don't know anything about New Hampshire.
Man, I'm really ignorant as far as the entire Northeast it goes. I don't know anything about New Hampshire, or Connecticut, or Delaware, or Massachusetts, or Rhode Island.
How about Rhode Island?
Yeah.
That's on the list too.
That's a tiny state.
North Dakota, also in the realm of Montana. Not surprising. There's not a lot of people there.
Yeah, beautiful country though.
Beautiful area, and realistically, if you live in North Dakota right now and you enjoy riding bicycles, you better be out on your bicycle anyway.
Yeah,
I'm betting we pick up some North Dakota folks in the winter.
yeah.
And South Dakota as well, kind of along the same lines. And man, that's some beautiful.
Yeah.
I've got a route through
The Badlands.
South Dakota. Oh, the Badlands are
Yeah.
awesome. The Black Hills are awesome.
Yeah.
I could spend a couple years in South Dakota and be perfectly fine with that.
I wouldn't want to be there in the winter.
Well, okay.
Is Stanley? Is that in North Dakota or South Dakota?
I have never heard of that. I'm not familiar with it.
So there was a big oil boom that was going on there for a while, and just to hear the stories of the guys that went up there and worked,
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, they were talking about it just being like 10 below and 40 mile an hour winds, and
they had a big rush up there like West Texas did.
Yeah, it was insane. They asked me if I wanted to go work up there, and I was like, no, not if I don't have to.
No, I agree. I am as much as I am not a 110 degree guy, I can take that more than I can take a negative 10 degrees for months on end.
Yeah, I mean, at least at 110 degrees, you can find some reprieve. Now, granted, if I truly get overheated, it takes me a while to cool down. But if I get chilled, it takes me longer to warm up. But, I would definitely take 110 over negative 10. But, I don't know. I like to sleep cold, though.
I do. Oh, air conditioner gets cranked down at night. There's no doubt about that.
But I mean, during our Texas winters, I mean, we rarely run our heat.
No, we don't. We don't either. It's like
I love it cold, but I'm not going to pay for it to be that cold in the summer at my house.
Can't do that.
Yeah. More housekeeping.
Well, not housekeeping per se, but since this is our 20th episode, I thought,
yay us.
I thought it might be worthwhile just to kind of do an update on some of the stuff we've talked about in the past.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Speaking of talking about stuff in the past, can I talk about one thing real quick?
Please do. This is an us thing, not a me thing.
I want to go back to the UDH, the Universal Derailleur Hanger.
No, UHD, as you say.
No, well, I jacked it up. It's Universal Derailleur Hanger, UDH.
Yeah, but you said it that way last week, too. It's
sorry.
he's still saying it.
Sorry. So I watched an interesting video last night that gave me a whole new perspective that I didn't even realize or understand. And the analogy the guy made, which I thought was kind of thematic and dramatic, but the YouTube channel is called Burn Peak
I was about you're
Express.
talking about the Burn Peak.
Yeah. Did you watch that?
I watched that yesterday morning.
Yeah, the Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about the Trojan horse aspect of it when we
Did
first
you?
talked. Yeah.
Shit, I'm forgetful. But I thought I did not realize that they had.
That was the whole core of what we talked about the first time we talked.
Well, maybe.
But he just confirmed it, and he was very
Yeah.
blunt. I was like, it kind of seems like it might be a Trojan horse.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that they did an open patent in 2016 for it. Did you mention that in your podcast?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Kevin.
It's all right.
I'm such a dick.
And hey, we were going to talk about that as we went through the episodes here.
I feel so bad because I know how frustrated I am at my wife because I will tell her something 5 times and she just meh. And then somebody else will tell her, and she'll come back and regurgitate it to me, and I go, "Asshole! I told you that."
We've been talking about that for years.
Yeah, damn it. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry.
Somebody else has more credibility than I do.
No. I
mean, I'm used to it in my marriage.
Maybe I just didn't digest it properly when you told me that.
No,
Yeah.
Well,
I think it was still new, and I didn't.
There was a lot of overwhelm, and it's why it's been an ongoing topic of.
Yeah.
And actually, it was Burn Peak.
Yeah.
Me watching that said, you know what, we should rehash some of our stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with episode 1, and we're not going to dive deep into this. Just like, hey, here's some stuff we talked about. Let's do some updates or other stuff we know about it. Episode 1 was Hello World in Oklahoma. Just rolling stuff out. Hey, we're doing shiftless. A couple of idiots that don't really know what we're talking about, which is obvious from this.
And still remains true.
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't think that'll change.
It's never going to change. And, the idea is, we'll come up with stuff that interests us, and we need somebody to set us straight, was the original concept. And we hashed it out on a road trip to Oklahoma doing some scouting. And
a lot of fun.
Tishomingo.
Mm-hmm.
So still planning, if anyone did listen to that episode, still planning to go up there when it cools down some and have a fun spinistry ride up in that area. It was very pretty, some really cool roads to play on. Latest update that I just saw on my gossip news, Gwen and Blake are on rough times right now.
Ooh, was she asking about me?
That was the first thing. So for those that missed that episode, Tishomingo is where Blake Shelton, is that who he is? Blake Shelton has his ranch, current husband of Gwen Stefani, and evidently a big, from the gossip news that I saw the other day online, so who knows how true it may or may not be, the one of their big hurdles is he wants to spend more time on the ranch, and she's an LA girl, and she just does not jive with Oklahoma, evidently, which doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. So anyway, that's as deep as we're going to go on our page 6 gossip stuff. I don't think we do a whole lot of that, but it is Gwen Stefani, so she gets a pass.
Yeah. So hot.
Episode 2. Title was COVID flashbacks in Colorado Trail. I'm not going to talk about COVID. It's part of the package. Colorado Trail, that all went sideways on us for various reasons. Still in the long-term game plan, but not an organized thing at this point.
I am back on the bike, though. Speaking of Colorado Trail.
Excellent.
Knees are feeling good on the bike. Still not super powerful, but,
Did you ever see anybody about it, or just time?
Just took some time, ice.
Understood.
And just ease back into it.
You're getting old, Brad.
I know. I don't want to admit it, but I know I am. So.
That's a loud plane, or is that just me?
No, it's loud.
Oh, right over us.
Yeah. It's weird because a lot of times we have no flight traffic, and some days, I don't know anything about any of this. I'm just an idiot, but some days, depending on, I guess, where the wind's coming from, and I've never actually tried to match it up, but we'll have planes fly right over, but for the most time, no planes around here. So, except for Thursday, this guy that lives over here has a Black Hawk helicopter.
He has a Black Hawk?
Maybe it's not a Black Hawk. What? Name another kind of helicopter. Anyways, he has a helicopter, and he flies it every Thursday. It's like clockwork. So,
I mean,
it's loud.
it's a big military-looking helicopter.
It's not a Huey. It's not a dual. It's a,
I mean, a Black Hawk's big. It's bigger than a Huey.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Hell, it's a fucking helicopter, man.
It's a helicopter.
That's all I know.
All right, no,
it's a
it's all
helichopper. I shouldn't have even tried to name drop. It's a helicopter.
It's a helicopter. Episode 3, some of our mistakes during adventures. Well, that's just an ongoing discussion.
Yeah.
We're always talking about that crap. Episode 4, expert edition. Our first expert edition with, it was Alex. Was that his name with Ride with GPS?
Alex Gay.
Alex Gay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I'm still using Ride with GPS.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Good stuff there still. But I want actually that touches on a point. We'll get deeper into that on our next expert edition that we chat about. When we bring in an expert like that, people might think it's a paid promotion or a commercial. We're not doing anything like that. Nobody's.
You guys are getting paid for this?
We're not. I'm doing this for coffee, you know. But some, let's see. I mean, we talked about a bunch of stuff with Ride with GPS. It's a really good platform. Probably the biggest takeaway at the moment still. If anyone ever looks at the Ride with GPS data to determine surface data percentage of unpaved versus paved,
Inaccurate.
Just ignore it. Don't.
Main takeaway. Don't trust it.
If I put up a Spinistry route and I say this is a gravel grinder, even if Ride with GPS says it's 95% paved, just please have faith that I'm not sending you down a road route. Episode 5, Fried Chicken, Red River Riot recap, and more spirit of gravel. The big takeaway on that is we're going to need to do a proper frying chicken show somewhere down the road, but we'll talk about that more down.
100% in. I made some chicken mole the other night. I'm a mole.
Dude, I am mole
fanatic.
Oh, okay. Next time you do mole, you have to bring me over.
Okay.
And I will critique the hell out of your mole.
That's fine. We have to say, though, I mean, there's thousands of recipes for mole. You know, mole is like curry for Mexico. And there's so many different levels and styles.
I don't dispute that. No, it doesn't have to taste a certain way, but it's got to have that love taste to it.
Yes. That takes time.
Yes.
I did a very Oaxacan style of mole on the subject of mole, tangent boy. If you're ever in Salt Lake City, Park City area,
okay.
Red Iguana, I think they had 7 moles on their menu, which I'm a mole fanatic. And
yeah.
I believe that not enough places serve mole. It's not a Tex-Mex thing, you know?
The guys down here in Roanoke that used to be in the Albertsons Plaza, when they had their first chef, they had a really...
Molcajetes. Is
that
what you're talking about?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Before they moved, they're the ones that they moved to downtown Roanoke.
Los Molcajetes.
Yeah. Their first chef, man, he had an amazing mole.
Yeah.
Not as primo since that first year. Another, and I'm not to step on your Park City Red Iguana thing.
No, you're good.
But probably for our audience, more people are likely to be in Lockhart than Park City. Mr. Taco in Lockhart, Texas. At least the last couple times I've been there, they have a top-notch, genuine mole.
That's awesome.
But that could change.
So sneak peek, when it cools off, I'm planning on doing mole for one of my courses for one of my dinners. But here's my thought: I'm going to do a flapper for one course over rice, and it's still going to be a fork dish because it's just going to pull off the bone because I'm going to simmer it like you do. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think mole is one of those things that people have this thought of, and then when you taste it, you're like, oh, it can be this, you know? So mine came out for my first attempt in probably a decade, came out surprisingly well, and not a drop of it went to waste. And and then for 2 separate mornings, I say mornings. I don't ever cook breakfast like first thing in the morning, but Paula and I had mole and eggs with tortillas, and they're unbelievably good. So it'll definitely happen again soon, very soon.
Next on the list, Expert Edition with Peddling Innovations, James.
Yeah, James Wilson.
And I definitely want to do a quick follow-up on this one. And this one definitely goes into that realm of, that was not a commercial, folks. James didn't pay us. We weren't trying to promote his stuff. We brought him on because we had stupid guy questions about flat pedals versus clipless.
I did get free shipping on my pedals.
Okay, you got free shipping on yours. Way to go.
I think he gives that to everybody.
I understand. 30-day money-back guarantee just for you and everyone else.
No, he said 90
Oh,
on the podcast.
he did stretch it to 90,
Yeah.
didn't he?
I was like, it says 30 on your website. He goes, I'll do 90 for your listeners. And I'm like, okay. I don't think anybody's going to return them anyways.
They're really cool pedals.
Yeah.
I have really... but, okay, so it is not a commercial. And I want to touch on this because last night we met with some folks and we did a test ride on our Fort Worth Gravel Crits course.
I saw that.
Had the loft there, my loft single speed,
Mm-hmm.
which that makes a great single speed gravel. Oh my God. But I do have the Peddling Innovations pedals on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sean took it for a spin because he wanted to try out the fork. And it was like at the end of the night.
Sean McAfee?
Yep.
Yeah.
But he wanted to try out the fork on the loft.
Love me some Sean.
And he realized the pedals were there. So he was, it was at the end of the night. He was already in his tennis shoes and worked out fine. And he got back and we started having a discussion about this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think Sean, and I've heard it from other people too,
Mm-hmm.
I think people were under the perception that we were hired shills for James in that episode.
I am not for sale.
Well, you are, but
Call me Bradford. Leave your money on the dresser.
I just want to make it crystal clear because I've heard this more than once that people just that guy. You were just letting that guy run all over you. No, he was very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And he talked a lot.
Yeah.
And we didn't get a chance.
I didn't know or really care that people thought we got paid, but that's funny to me. I mean, obviously we didn't get a penny. But no, he's just that passionate about what he does.
He was that passionate about it. And that's what I was explaining to Sean last night. It's like, we didn't bring him on expecting him to sell us on his concept per se. It's like,
we got onto flat pedals, and I said, I know just the guy we need to talk to.
Yeah. And I was, I was saying, look, I need to try flat pedals just so I can have an intelligent opinion of flat versus clipless.
Or at least an opinion.
Somewhat informed opinion. Intelligence stretch. Somewhat informed opinion.
It's easy stab, sorry.
Go for it. It's very, very appropriate.
But I'm telling you, that same enthusiasm that he had on our podcast was the exact reason that as I sat there and talked to him in Fruta, we finished the conversation. I said, I'm freaking sold.
Yeah.
And I walked right next door to the bike shop and bought flat pedals and shoes, like on the spot. Yeah. It was like joining a cult as soon as you get through having lunch with the cult leader.
And it's like I said that during the podcast. James, you're a hell of a salesman because I am. Yeah. I mean, I bought his pedals at full price.
Yeah.
As soon as we got off the podcast.
And that was before he had his own pedals. When I'm telling you,
right.
I bought somebody else's pedals. He just sold me on the concept.
Right.
So, we didn't get paid a penny.
And
wish we would have.
Send
our checks, James. Contact us at shiftlesslive@gmail.com.
Boom!
And we'll tell you where to mail our checks.
But for me, the real thing he sold me on, because the conversation really steered towards the midfoot position
Yeah.
more so than the flat pedal aspect. It started with the flat pedal, then he really went in, which that was a new thing for me, and that was a harder sell, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I need to try it out, and I have been since then. And I'm not saying I'm completely sold yet, but so far I haven't come across any negatives, and there seem to be some positives
Yeah.
with the midfoot position. I'm going to give it a solid 6 months before I say, hey, I'm an evangelist for going midfoot. I'm just giving an update. So
Yeah.
since we spoke with James, I've been doing everything flat pedal and midfoot position. The smart bike, all of my bikes that I'm riding and everything like that.
Smart bike.
It's indoor bike.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Indoor. So instead of just
I
putting
was
the
like,
bike
is
on,
that what we're calling e-bikes nowadays?
instead of a smart trainer where you put your bike on the trainer, it's a whole unit that's just
Oh, like a Peloton-ish. Okay.
yeah. But it's like a smart trainer in that
Yeah.
it's resistance and
Very cool. Okay.
that we're going to do an episode on that too, because there's a really cool new software out there for folks that are on Zwift. And I'm not saying this knocking Zwift, because I still have my Zwift subscription as well. But there's a new platform out there called IndieVelo. But we'll talk about that. I might get those guys on board. That's good stuff. But just a quick update. I'm a fan of the midfoot position, I think. I like James's pedals, the Pedaling Innovation pedals, a lot when they're under my foot. But
Yeah.
they're so damn big and bulky.
Yeah. And they make a bigger one.
They make a big. I didn't
Yeah.
even notice that.
Yeah, he makes it. They make an XL for people that wear like I think they recommend them for if you have a 12 plus size shoe.
So, and for me, it may just be more of an aesthetic thing, because once I'm pedaling,
They disappear.
they disappear.
Yeah.
But I mean, even just hanging out by the bike and when the pedals rotate down, they're touching the ground and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And they're just loading it on the bike rack. They're so big. It's just it throws me off. And
The only thing I keep thinking that I haven't done it yet, but when you get to a hike-a-bike section, you know how you always hit your leg on your pedal.
I've been concerned. I haven't run into that situation because right now it's too damn hot for me to mountain bike. I can't do it.
Well, you can still do it.
No, I can't. We'll talk. We'll have that discussion another time.
All right.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, and we'll need an expert for it too. But right now, mountain biking isn't in my cards. I mean, it doesn't have. If I get below 95 degrees, I'll be fine. But yeah, that is a concern. If I do run into a true hike-a-bike, how much am I going to tear up my shins or ankles or whatever else?
Yeah.
What I've also done is, so I've got the Pedaling Innovations pedals on a couple of bikes at the moment. I have the pair I bought. James did later on. He sent us a demo pair.
Us. I'm kidding.
Club Spinistry.
I'm
You are a Club Spinistry member.
I'm just kidding. I already have a pair.
No, that's what I'm saying. He sent us, Club Spinistry, a demo pair that Club Spinistry members are welcome to try out. I know Rich Waldschmidt tried them out, and we chatted about it some. So these are available for other Club Spinistry members that want to check them out as well.
And
So
for the record, the things that Rich Waldschmidt doesn't know about flat pedals could fill a book.
several volumes, quite frankly. But what I also tried, and this is going back to, and this isn't a criticism of the Pedaling Innovations pedals, because when they're under my foot, when I'm pedaling on them, they feel fantastic. They really do. But I haven't tried a mountain biking yet, so I definitely want to do a lot of mountain biking on before I really have an opinion. But I've also been trying out the Redshift Arclight flat pedals.
Yeah.
And I am a super duper fan of that, because I'm just so big on the safety aspect of things, and the lights on those things are absolutely amazing. And they work as a midfoot pedal as well. Feel pretty good under the foot. They don't feel as good as the Pedaling Innovations, but I think the lights make up for the difference. So for me, it'd be one of those things that the ideal a hybrid of the Pedaling Innovations
Yeah.
pedals and those ArcLight pedals. But man, that would be super bulky and super heavy at that point.
Yeah, and I think so. One of the things that James touted on so much is the stack height, the height of the pedal. Like when you get into high end pedals, flat pedals, that is, you'll notice that you're trying to get your foot as close to the spindle as possible. So like Canfield made a pedal that's like 11 millimeters tall, and they all get into these like super thin pedals.
Right.
And I think the only aspect to that arc light is you're sacrificing that. So in the thought process is you want your foot as close to the rotational point for more stability, because when you get it up top, think about a Jeep that's lifted,
No, I
how
get
it
it.
wants to turn over.
No, I follow that.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But
That's the thought process anyway.
I think the Pedaling Innovations and those arc lights are about the same
Thickness.
Yeah. I think they're close. But
I'd be interested to know.
I think I will check that as soon as I get home. So I will say that one is somewhat of a sponsored pitch per se.
We all know you've been in bed with Redshift.
I've been a fan of Redshift since even pre-production days on that stem.
Do you call them Redshift Ford?
That's kind of funny. That's going to be a running joke. Everything's going to be a Ferd going forward if we're too fanboyish over it, right?
Oh goodness.
Gwenford. But so Redshift did send me those ArcLight pedals as a demo pair.
I saw a review on those. It may have been Burn Peak Express he was talking about.
He did those recently too.
And he was talking about how they use magnets to hold everything in, and how easy it is to charge them and everything. Yeah, I'm interested. I want to see them in person too. So
I will bring some out your way at some point.